Okay, go.
Ready?
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test, to train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon!
I'm Chris Kelly alongside Nina Nastasi, and we have a few very interesting stories tonight. First off, we begin the show with a sad story about whaling and the conservation efforts being made to reverse the effects of violent whaling practices.
More than 30 years after the worldwide moratorium on commercial whaling, whaling continues to occur in the world's oceans. A millennium of the commercial hunting of whales by humans has left the ocean severely depleted of its largest creatures. Currently, the largest violator of this moratorium is Japan. By obtaining a permit that allows the killing of whales for scientific research, Japanese ships are able to slaughter whales and dolphins and sell the meat for consumption. It is estimated that Japanese ships kill between 650 and 1,000 whales per year and over 20,000 dolphins per year. Norway and Iceland also use loopholes in the ban to kill endangered whales for consumption. In Norway, a self-set quota allows 1,000 endangered minke whales to be killed per year. In Iceland, using a similar exception as Japan, 148 highly endangered fin whales are killed per year. Although whaling continues to occur, the conservation of whales has skyrocketed in the same time period as these violations. The moratorium by the International Whaling Commission in 1982 was considered by many environmental activists as the greatest environmental victory in over a century. The peak of whaling in the 20th and 21st centuries occurred in 1958 when an estimated 38,000 whales were slaughtered for commercial purposes. In 2014, a little more than 2,000 whales were killed. However, despite these remarkable conservation efforts, the scars of 1,000 years of commercial whale hunting will most likely never heal. 7 out of the 13 species of great whales are classified as endangered, the most severe of which being the North Atlantic right whale, of which only 300 remain alive in the wild today. This small of a population is functionally extinct and is likely not the last whale species that will go extinct by the end of the 21st century.
Wow, I hope everything works out in the future. Our next story is about survival at sea and the dangers that come with it. These include starvation, dehydration, and insanity. This is Nino Nastasi of Bob Hoop News, reporting in from Nantucket. A little over a century ago, Nantucket was one of the most prominent whaling communities in the United States. The nonfiction novel In the Heart of the Sea by Nathaniel Philbrick takes place here in 1820. Philbrick makes the theme of survival at sea predominantly gruesome. He uses the written journal entries of whaler Thomas Nickerson and the other whalers to describe the vivid struggles of someone trying to survive at sea. Throughout history, there has been many other cases of survival at sea under the worst of circumstances. Back in early January of 2015, sailor Louis Jordan's life changed forever. He was sailing off the east coast of South Carolina when his boat capsized, breaking the boat's mast as well. Louis survived by capturing rainwater in his bucket and catching fish with the clothes off his back. He survived 66 full days and was finally found alive 200 miles off of the North Carolina coast. He was quoted saying this to his family on the phone. "I was just praying about you because I was afraid that you guys were crying and sad that I was dead, and I wasn't dead." Surviving at sea with almost no hope of survival, all he could do was pray and hope for someone to find him. In Nathaniel Philbrick's In the Heart of the Sea, the men that survived were the men that had a valuable reason to live. Not to say the others of the Essex didn't, but the men wanted to live and see their families more than anything else.
It is very interesting how relatable the events of the Essex are to that incident. In our final story, we have another concept of being trapped at sea: cannibalism. The act is seen by many as the worst thing a human can do. Similarly, the incident in this story can be paralleled with the sinking of the Essex. This is Christopher Kelly reporting from the Andes Mountains in Argentina. Where I stand now is the spot where decades ago a rugby team's plane crashed, which resulted in a tale of perseverance and also wrongdoing. The passengers who survived the initial crash barely held on, and it was practically a miracle when they were eventually rescued. However, the aspect of this event that most people look into is, while to the disgust of many, the group of people resorted to cannibalism. This can be related to the non-fiction novel In the Heart of the Sea, in which a whaling crew must fight to survive after their boat, the Essex, is sunk by a massive sperm whale. Like the rugby team in the Andes, the crew began to eat their dead once their complete extinction was thought to be near. The group, led by Captain Pollard, was starving to death after their rations of food were cut each and every day. Eventually, the food began to run out and the bodies began to pile up. The remaining crew members made a group decision to consume one of their dead. They attempted to do everything they could to make it look as though they were not eating a human. However, this is obviously a very difficult task. This is paralleled by the Andes disaster, when the passengers tried to tear open everything on the plane looking for something edible. They even resorted to ripping apart the chairs, hoping to find straw, and all they found was foam. When people are stranded at sea or in the mountains or somewhere along those lines, they tend to go insane. Not only is it from the lack of food, but also from the lack of hope. So, when the men had the idea of eating their own, they acknowledged that it was the only chance of their survival. As expected, the men who ended up living through this disaster were disturbed for the remainders of their lives. Thank you. Once again, this is Christopher Kelly from the Andes Mountains. Thank you, everyone, for watching the broadcast tonight. There were some rather disturbing pieces. I truly hope that the controversy around whaling can be heard more so around the world, and they will be safe. Additionally, in my eyes, there are a few things worse than being stranded at sea. Thank you again, Mississippi.